You are a failure. Until you're not. Every billionaire in the world has only two things in common. One, they each have their unique quote about the importance of failure, and two, I never really have to worry about RSVPing to their weddings. Despite any of their ex-wives' personal feelings about any one of these guys, the odds of them just getting stupidly lucky are probably pretty low. And even if they did, maybe failing over and over, that's the trick to getting lucky. So how do we fail? Well, you just do it. Repeatedly, spectacularly, until eventually, you either send it or crash out and take a mental health walk. Life's toughest lessons can only be learned the hard way, through personal, sometimes painful, failures. Each failure might teach you something different, and each failure might sting uniquely. But here's the catch. No matter how different each failure is, the emotional ride that it brings, shame, embarrassment, hurts to our pride, that's always the same. It's your brain panicking, trying to shield us from the consequences. It's your biology. It's not your fault. It's just doing what brains were designed to do. Keep you alive, even if sometimes it's a little dramatic about it. So if every failure hits us with the same cocktail of emotions, embarrassment, shame, panic, then maybe the trick isn't just trying to avoid that feeling, but maybe it's getting comfortable enough to know how to manage it when it inevitably comes. A great way to get comfortable failing is to do it intentionally, in a place where the stakes feel real, but the consequences aren't. And if you've ever played Celeste, you know that this game invokes the exact same kind of emotions: frustration, embarrassment, inadequacy. They all come in abundance when playing a game like Celeste. So Celeste is broken into 7 main chapters. 6 of them each have a unique mechanic that is designed around to teach you how to use it. You learn how to carry momentum on these little platforms. You learn how these little bubbles work and the clues to let us know that we should be looking for one. You learn, however passively, that the entire game is operating on a kind of global scale that resets on screen transitions and respawns. All these ideas culminate in the 7th chapter, the Summit. The Summit is a combination of everything that we've learned. It starts off with 6 screens that each have distinct, unique callbacks to the original 6 levels, but the only difference is this time we have 2 dashes. So after finishing the first 6 screens, we move on to the final 3 screens of the entire first 7 chapters. These are the biggest screens that we've ever encountered at this point. So big, in fact, that progress isn't denoted by the usual screen transitions like we're used to, but instead by these fun little checkpoints that make a sound when you, oh yeah, like that. It's fun, The Summit is hard, but if you've learned anything while you've played the game, you know that each respawn is going to get you a little bit closer to actually finishing the level. These respawns don't feel any different than the last time, though. They can each feel uniquely sucky depending on, how you hit a spike or how you needed to respawn. It just feels bad depending on how long you've been on each individual screen. 30 excruciating checkpoints later, and we're through. You've done it. You've beaten the game. And in beating the game, you realize what these billionaires really meant. Failing isn't the goal. It never was. But it's genuinely impossible to get to the summit without learning how to play Celeste. And the only way to learn is to fail. In my case, 12,102 times for my first go at it. You get pretty intimate with failure when you do it that many times at a specific thing. And managing those feelings is something that we learn while we're playing through the game Celeste. It's natural. The feelings don't start as soon as you boot up a save file, and they certainly don't end when you get to the summit the first time either. Celeste's difficulty curve is actually pretty unique in that the movement options that you're aware of actually dictate how difficult a specific level is. If you only know the basics of the game that the game taught you in the prologue, then you could play through chapter 1 like this. This is the way the devs originally intended anybody to play through 1.1. Or, with a little practice, you could play it like this. And once you know that you can play the game like this, it's almost impossible to go back. It's just not as fun. And it's also not that you have to be someone that wants to beat the game as quickly as possible. It's just more fun to play the game like this. It's kind of like music. If you know how to play classical piano and hear jazz for the first time, you might practice your instrument just a little bit more, just so that you can play something that's more fun. So jazz, I guess playing Celeste with these extra movement options is like jazz. This layered difficulty curve adds so much depth to the game because, it doesn't limit the amount of learning that we can do in each level. It makes even the first chapter of the game super rewarding hundreds of hours into the game. I tried to make a little, like a graph here to kind of illustrate what I was talking about here. So you can see like this bottom curve. This is what the difficulty curve usually is throughout the entire game. And then this top one, this is how hard the game is if you know all of the fun, unique things that you can do per level, because you're just going to try it naturally and you don't really want to do it the other way. So if you want to do it this way and you kind of feel like you need to do it this way, then yeah. The existence of this curve also keeps us respawning. It keeps us reaching for harder and tighter jumps. Each respawn on the same jump attempt, every 10 minutes that you spend on the same screen, constantly eat away at the confidence that you've been building while you've been learning how to play this game. So if you're like me, the main game just isn't quite enough. Thankfully, each chapter has 2 extra levels that we can play through, a B-side and a C-side. The B-side are longer, more drawn-out, kind of technical versions of the A-side, the original level, and the C-side are just a 3-screen, extremely difficult, extremely technical version of the same mechanics that we were used to when we first played through the level. These C-sides maintain the same style as the original level, but they include some of the hardest jumps that you could possibly try to do in the main game just in general. If you want to get the whole failing experience out of this, boot up a C-side, look at the level in total, try to estimate how long you think this level will take for you to actually get through, and then play it through. I promise you, you will feel the exact feelings that we're trying to invoke while we're playing this game. The lesson is, are you going to walk away? Or is the word failure really for only the ones who quit? You will fail at stuff. I fail all the time. I continue to fail, and some days I feel like I'm failing every day, every couple hours. The truth about all this is the same lesson that you learned at the end of Celeste. You didn't fail, and not a single one of those respawns should make you feel bad. You needed every single one to get you to the top. And that's true not just about this game, but every single one of your real accomplishments too. You needed those failures in order to get where you are, and get where you're going. This isn't the only thing that Celeste teaches us though. If you're playing games, you're pretty often learning something at the exact same time. But you can't really use the thing that you've learned unless you know that you've learned it, right? Games are low-stakes simulations for what could be high-stakes skills in the real world. They can teach you about history, philosophy, complex economic theories. They can teach you how to drive a car, how to nail an interview, even something simple like how to pack your groceries better. I've created a system that extracts exactly what a particular game can teach you, if that thing is actually good for you to learn, and how good each game is at teaching the thing that you can learn from it. I rate all of the games that I've reviewed for this channel with the exact same scale, so we can kind of compare how they size up to one another. And if you want to read more about this review in particular, you can go ahead and check out my Patreon. All the reviews there are free, but if you want a place to support this work, that's a great place to do it. So, can Celeste teach us anything more or anything important? Let's take a quick look at the report card and see what we find. All right, first up, we got problem solving. These problems, there are problems to be solved in this game, but they're pretty easy. Once you figure out what you need to do, it's pretty straightforward. And also, the game is constantly trying to teach you how to use like the movement options that you've been given. And so puzzles kind of get in the way from that. If you don't know what to do, then the game just doesn't feel bad, because that's not the point of this game. So there are some problems to be solved, but it's not getting a lot of points because that's not its strong suit. Next up, we got real life skills. Real life skills is the whole point of this video, right? Learning how to fail. If you can learn how to fail and learn how to manage those emotions and persevere, push through, that's an awesome lesson. And if you can learn that in this game, it's extremely important. I think that you kind of naturally do. Taking it and putting it into your real life, that's another story. Like, will you be able to do that? I think in most cases you will learn how to kind of like grit down and just naturally do it because you're used to this kind of feeling. That said, it's not 100%. So that's why it's getting an 8 out of 10. Next up, we got empathy building. And this is getting a 5 out of 10. So it gets a little bit of points for trying, but honestly, I think this game is not very good at teaching anything empathetic at all. I mean, it tries to kind of make us connect with the characters, but honestly, I don't think it does a very good job. Yeah. Next up is the message, and the message gets an 8 out of 10. It's very tied to the real life skills because this is kind of the whole point, right? If you persevere, if you push through, if no matter how many times you've fallen or anything like that, you can get through. And that's kind of the cool part, right? You can do it. Overall, it's getting a 6 out of 10, and this isn't a bad score at all. This is really good. This is a great game that can teach you good lessons in a short time frame. It's not a waste of time to play it through, and I think that you can learn something while you're playing through it. You learn how to regulate the feelings of failure and learn how to persevere through something. And you learn how to achieve and the reward for actually persevering through it. Those are really good things. And if you can feel that, you know, in a game, and you can learn that that's actually how it works in real life too, that's really cool. That said, the more time that you invest playing this game, especially at a high level, the less that you actually get out of it, I think. It's classic diminishing returns here. Anyway, check out Celeste for that. I think it's an awesome game to play. I had a lot of fun reviewing this game. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video or this kind of content, please make sure to check out the other ones. I have Portal. I did a video on Portal just a few days ago, and that went pretty well. I'd love for you to check that one out. If you like this one, you'll probably like that one. So, especially if you're here. If you are here and you're listening to this now, I really do want to hear from you. So leave something in the comments or find me on any social media. Give me a thumbs up somewhere. I don't know. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.